Charles Baker Harris. I can read. You got anything needs reading, I can do it.
Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the books that may heavily influence your perspective and outlook on life, on yourself, and on the people around you. We're looking exclusively at novels today, so we won't be including novellas like Le Petit Prince or lengthy poems like The Odyssey.
The library at Netherfield, I've heard, is one of the finest in the country.
Yes, fills me with guilt.
Number 30, Charlotte's Web, E.B. White. A quintessential work of children's literature, Charlotte's Web tells the story of Wilbur, a spring pig who learns of a terrible fate awaiting him in the wintertime. Luckily, Wilbur finds a guardian angel in Charlotte, a spider who devises a plan to save his life.
I'm glad you're here, Charlotte. Will you stay for a long, long time?
A spider's life is an uncertain thing, but I promise you I'll stay as long as I can.
It's one of the most endearing friendships you'll find in any book, but Charlotte's Web really holds up due to the intelligent way it teaches younger readers about life's inevitable challenges. Bravely exploring topics like change, empathy, and death, it does so without sacrificing any of the innocence at its heart. Inspiring multiple screen adaptations, its continued relevance only further elevates its embodiment of the wholesome descriptions that Charlotte spins in Wilbur's name.
Edith, we have received a sign. We have a very unusual pig.
Seems to me you're a little off. Seems to me we have no ordinary spider.
Number 29, The Outsiders, S.E. Hinton. While young adult fiction is now a mainstay in the literature marketplace, its legitimacy arguably began with The Outsiders. Written while she was in high school, the perspective S.E. Hinton brings to a story of gang warfare gives the novel an authenticity that's entirely its own. Told from the point of view of teenage greaser Ponyboy Curtis, The Outsiders is both a devastating reckoning with the naivete of youth and an uplifting portrayal of familial bonds.
We're all we got left now. If we don't have each other, you end up like Dallas.
The star-studded cast of future A-listers who headlined the 1983 film adaptation have offered a major contribution to the story's entertainment value. But even on its own merits, the sincerity with which the novel addresses economic hardship, domestic violence, and the search for one's identity is not to be overlooked.
Stay gold, Ponyboy. Stay gold.
Number 28, The Stand, Stephen King. Of all the tremendous Stephen King classics we could have gone with, his post-apocalyptic epic The Stand remains a cut above the rest, especially after the events of the last decade. But even beyond its eerily familiar setup of a deadly pandemic, it's a disturbing piece of fiction due to its forecasting of prescient concerns like radicalization and political paranoia.
My God, you people are terrified of him. Is that all he has over you? Is fear? That's it?
In a desolate landscape divided by warring factions, The Stand boldly personifies the thin divide between good and evil in a desperate time. Amazingly, it does so while drawing some of King's most compelling characters into the fold, and in the process, combining several genres into one. Even so, in a career loaded with terrifying works, this might be the King of Horror's most frightening offering.
If anyone asks, if there's anyone left to ask, please tell them I stood my post to the end.
Number 27, Lord of the Flies, William Golding. It's likely you already read this one in school, and even if you didn't, the premise is one you likely know anyway. But make no mistake, Lord of the Flies is one of the most thematically rich texts you can find on a bookshelf.
But suppose they wouldn't make sense, not here on this island. Supposing things are watching us and waiting.
In placing a group of schoolboys on a deserted island, author William Golding attempted to subvert the idealism of previously published adventure novels. And given how grimly Lord of the Flies portrays the descent into savagery that comes without governance, not to mention the clash between order and power, it's safe to say he succeeded. Its frank depiction of violence in the name of social acceptance conveys not only the loss of innocence, but also the losses of individuality and morality. Number 26, Fahrenheit 451, Ray Bradbury. Another dystopian novel with shockingly plausible implications about our future, Ray Bradbury's masterpiece is arguably more powerful of a read now than it was 70 years ago. Set in a society where books are banned, Fahrenheit 451 is an invigorating rallying cry about the importance of knowledge and the dangers of censorship.
Look, these are all novels. All about people that never existed. The people that read them, it makes them unhappy with their own lives, makes them want to live in other ways that can never really be.
Its parallels to the fascism of World War II made it a divisive point of discussion during the McCarthy era, but its controversial nature only continues to make it an essential piece of literature as debates about free speech sadly continue to rage on. Furthermore, its ability to engage the reader in discussions about questioning the information they receive is a tool that any producer of media should be willing to learn from.
Leave me alone, Linda. I've got reading to do, quite a lot.
What's the matter with you? Aren't you well?
It's nothing. I've got to read.
Number 25, The Giver, Lois Lowry. While you could go your entire life without ever watching its misguided film adaptation, this Newbery Medal winner remains an absolute must-read. A seminal component of middle school English classes, The Giver zeroes in on a utopian society where emotional responses have been suppressed in the name of equality.
Father, do you love me?
Jonas, precision of language. Please.
What does love mean?
I got him, Lily.
Jonas used a word so antiquated that it no longer has any application.
When a young boy named Jonas is selected to help preserve the memories from before his time, he quickly learns that his perfect world is anything but. Although it may seem familiar for the dystopia subgenre, The Giver deserves credit for introducing provocative ideas to younger readers in ways both mature and delicate. That it was a frequent target of censorship groups only underscores the urgency with which it champions the value of free will.
We could choose better.
People are weak. People are selfish. When people have the freedom to choose, they choose wrong.
Number 24, Ulysses, James Joyce. Reinventing a text as grand as Homer's Odyssey is an ambitious endeavor to say the least. But James Joyce was more than up to the challenge. Written over the course of 7 years, Ulysses transplants the story from ancient Greece to contemporary Dublin and refashions the Odysseus character into an ad man Leopold Bloom.
There he is. I wonder what he's buying. Leopoldo, or the Bloom is on the rye. Only dead nuts on books. He's a cultured all-around man, Bloom is. Not one of your commoner garden, you know. There's a touch of the artist in old Bloom.
Following Bloom during an ordinary yet eventful day in the city, Ulysses is a lengthy and often difficult text due to its protagonist's lewd behavior and endless stream of consciousness. But those willing to buy into Joyce's unconventional storytelling style will be rewarded with witty wordplay and a lively take on all of the complexities of day-to-day life.
Right, stand up to it then with force like men.
That's no good. Force, hatred. That's not life. A man, a woman, insult and hatred. Everybody knows that it's the very opposite to that that's really life.
Number 23, Roots, The Saga of an American Family, Alex Haley. Although the legacy of Roots has largely been defined by its TV adaptation, Alex Haley's sprawling epic fills in all the holes that the small screen cuts out. The story of Kunta Kinte and his descendants is an overwhelming reflection of the entire American experience in all of its most beautiful and unjust components.
What's your name?
Kunta. As one of the first novels to specifically discuss the Middle Passage, Roots boldly confronts the dehumanizing practices that dominated the world for far too long. But Haley's mature prose is such that the text doesn't only wallow in tragedy. Rather, by broadening the story, it also encourages the reader to consider the progress made in the time since, engaging with their own pasts to better understand the present.
Hear me, O African. The flesh of your flesh has come to freedom.
Number 22, The Kite Runner, Khaled Hosseini.
چی میخوانی؟ روشتکای چیش هست؟ کوشش میکنم خواندن یاد بگیرم. از این که قصه تو رو بشنوم خوبتره.
Despite its more recent publication, The Kite Runner has already proven itself worthy of literature's all-time greats. Protagonist Amir narrates his experiences growing up in Afghanistan before and during the Soviet invasion and rise of the Taliban movement. Particular emphasis is placed on Amir's friendship with Hassan, and the Kite Runner finds many sobering ways to parallel this relationship with the country's fraught history.
شاید متوجه نشده باشی که ما 3 نفر هستیم و شما 2 نفر.
مگم بخیرم تو متوجه نشدی که دادی ما غلق است.
On both an intimate and grand scale, it's a story of guilt and trauma, but also our inherent capability of redemption, one that recalls a simpler time without shying away from inevitable tragedy. It handles its dark themes with enough humanity that its portrayal of Middle Eastern culture never comes across as overtly strange or unnatural to Western readers. Number 21, The Handmaid's Tale, Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood has claimed that the world of The Handmaid's Tale was merely an estimation of where the United States could go based on where it was at the time of publication. If that's not a foreboding reminder that its message should be taken seriously, we don't know what is.
There is more than one kind of freedom. In the days of anarchy, it was freedom to. Now you're being given freedom from. Don't underrate it.
Set in an alternate version of the country, The Handmaid's Tale envisions a future where fertility is a rarity, and the few able to have children are subjugated by patriarchal rulers. Given the ongoing discussion regarding reproductive rights, it's unquestionable that the book's power has reached entirely new levels of significance. The story's intensity doesn't rest only with its implications, but also with the vivid and deliberate language Atwood uses to make everything uncomfortably real.
We have the force, we have the faith, and we will not rest until we've purified this country, this nation, in the name of God.
Number 20, The War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells. As arguably the most influential sci-fi writer ever, H.G. Wells produced numerous genre standards that could have made this list. But if there's one that has, and will continue to stand the test of time, it's The War of the Worlds.
What are we going to say to them?
Welcome to California.
Following a Martian invasion of Earth, the novel is at its best when balancing the devastation of the attack with natural curiosity about worlds beyond our own. Intended as a warning against British imperialism, Wells uses the outlandish premise to champion new ways of thinking about other cultures and how past actions haunt us in the present. Text's malleable ideas have allowed it to be adapted several times, with Orson Welles' 1938 radio broadcast and Steven Spielberg's 2005 film serving as standouts.
There's more than one.
You gotta be kidding me, right?
Number 19, Little Women, Louisa May Alcott. Despite the youthfulness suggested by the title, Little Women is the kind of book you'll appreciate more the older you get. The story follows the 4 March sisters as they work their way out of hard times during the Civil War era, discovering love and personal passions along the way.
Why, I have 10 stories in my head right now.
Gentlemen, I dislike all this money talk. It isn't refined.
Well, lack of attention to personal finances is a mark of refinement, and I'd say the Marches are the most elegant family in Concord.
We'll all grow up someday, Meg. We might as well know what we want.
For as old of a text as it is, it's remarkable how fresh its themes of selflessness and contentment feel even today. Whether you identify with Meg, Jo, Beth, or Amy the most, each of them are realistically rendered through their strong-willed demeanors, never letting anyone dictate the course of their lives. Little Women embodies love in all of its varied yet wholesome forms, and will undoubtedly leave you feeling grateful for what you have.
Jo, do you love Laurie more than you love me?
Oh, don't be such a beetle. I could never love anyone as I love my sisters.
Number 18, The Chronicles of Narnia, C.S. Lewis. Unlike another expansive fantasy series you'll soon hear about, The Chronicles of Narnia has yet to see its entire story brought to life on the big screen. But that lack of closure takes absolutely nothing away from the extraordinary imagination of author C.S. Lewis.
There's a prophecy. When Adam's flesh and Adam's bone sits at Cair Paravel enthroned, the evil time will be over and done.
You know, that doesn't really rhyme.
Yeah, I know it don't, but look, you're kind of missing the point.
From its whimsical creatures and relatable protagonists to its epic clashes between good and evil, Narnia has everything you could ever want from a fantasy world. Moreover, the 7 books in the series are some of the best at capturing the modest beauty of childhood. While its parallels with Christianity have been heavily studied, its greatest virtue may be its emphasis on simply believing in the impossible. Though some characters sadly outgrow their belief in Narnia, we never will.
Possible.
Don't worry. I'm sure it's just your imagination.
I don't suppose saying we're sorry would quite cover it.
No, it wouldn't. With that, Mike.
Number 17, The Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien.
It must be taken deep into Mordor and cast back into the fiery chasm from whence it came.
Many lists of the greatest novels of all time exclude genre fiction like science fiction and fantasy, but there have to be a few exceptions for works that have truly transcended into the mainstream.
Supposed to stick it in the ground.
It is in the ground.
Outside.
That was your idea.
There is no question that J.R.R. Tolkien's epic novel The Lord of the Rings is one of those exceptions. Since it was released in the 1950s, this property has influenced the fantasy genre, paving the way for other series like A Song of Ice and Fire. The story of Frodo's quest to destroy the One Ring was brought to a whole new generation when the incredible film adaptations were released in the early aughts, but the novel itself remains well worth reading.
I still only count as one.
Number 16, Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte.
Somewhere under my left ribs, tightly knotted to a similar string in you. And if you were to leave, I'm afraid that cord of communion would snap. And I've a notion that I'd take to bleeding inwardly.
It often happens, for whatever reason, when composing lists of essential reads to end up with only male authors. But it would be impossible to exclude novels like this one. Jane Eyre is a haunting Gothic novel by Charlotte Bronte, who has been called the, quote, first historian of the private consciousness because of her tendency to focus on the first-person perspective.
I'm not speaking to you through mortal flesh. It is my spirit that addresses your spirit, as if we'd passed through the grave and stood at God's feet equal, as we are.
As we are.
I am a free human being with an independent will.
Not only is Jane Eyre written by a woman, it's also told from the female perspective. The story is about an orphaned girl and is a coming-of-age tale that features some dark elements, and which was ahead of its time in terms of social perspective.
Fairfax Rochester with nothing to say.
You altogether are a human being, Jane.
I conscientiously believe so.
Number 15, Slaughterhouse-Five, or The Children's Crusade, A Duty Dance with Death, Kurt Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut's semi-autobiographical satire is not what you'd expect from a World War II novel. Protagonist Billy Pilgrim is, quote, unstuck in time, and his story bounces between the atrocities of war and his later life as a veteran, not to mention the time he spends as a prisoner on planet Tralfamadore after being abducted by aliens.
On Tralfamadore, you learn that the world is just a collection of moments, all strung together in beautiful random order. And if we're going to survive, it's up to us to concentrate on the good moments and ignore the bad.
In spite of the wacky adventure and deceptively light tone, the book is drenched in the sorrow and trauma that Vonnegut experienced firsthand in the Dresden bombing during the Second World War. From its dry humor to its flights of whimsy to its crazy storyline, Slaughterhouse-Five will change the way you think about both war and humanity.
I give you the Tralfamadorian greeting. Hello. Farewell. Hello. Farewell. Eternally connected, eternally embracing.
Number 14, Great Expectations, Charles Dickens. As the title suggests, you can pick up this book with very high expectations, and you won't be disappointed. Charles Dickens's classic Bildungsroman about a young boy named Pip is emotional and exciting, and includes escaped convicts, gothic scenery, and ghost-like old ladies.
Mice have gnawed at it, and sharper teeth than mice have gnawed at me. When the ruin is complete, when they lay me dead, in my bride's dress, on the prize table, the curse will be finished on him.
When a mysterious benefactor unexpectedly grants him a fortune, Pip goes from being a poor country orphan to a rich heir in England. From there, the book shows how his newfound wealth influences his frame of mind, not to mention his relationships with his family and friends. It all comes together into a complex exploration of class, presumption, and charity.
You said that you would always think of me.
And I have.
That you would think of the good in me.
Always.
Number 13. Frankenstein, Mary Shelley.
It's alive.
Can you believe that one of the most well-known stories in our cultural lexicon was written by a teenager?
Ew! Get off of me!
Well, it's true. Mary Shelley penned her story, Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus, when she was just 18, and it was published when she was still 20. It's perhaps the best-known horror novel ever released, and although nearly everyone is familiar with the plot of the story, many have never actually read the original source material.
It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you.
Shelley's novel is a fantastic work of science fiction and horror, and still holds up even some 200 years after its initial publication.
As I said before, I say again, here's to a son, to the house of Frankenstein.
Number 12. 100 Years of Solitude, Gabriela García Márquez.
Las estirpes condenadas a 100 años de soledad no tenían una segunda oportunidad sobre la tierra.
Colombian author Gabriela García Márquez is known for his novel Love in the Time of Cholera, as well as this seminal work, which is considered his magnum opus. A novel featuring magical realism, 100 Years of Solitude tells the story of a Colombian family through several generations. One more reason to read it now is that in 2024, Netflix released the first season of a TV adaptation, with a planned second season still to come. This is exciting news for Márquez fans.
No es solamente para Colombia ni para América Latina, sino para todo el mundo.
Number 11. The Great Gatsby, F. Scott Fitzgerald.
He gives large parties, and I like large parties. They're so intimate.
What is there to say about The Great Gatsby that hasn't already been said? Considered by many to exemplify the concept of the great American novel, F. Scott Fitzgerald's slim novella manages to pack a huge punch.
Remember how much fun we had? I don't know why we can't just have fun like that again.
Narrated by Nick Carraway, but telling the story of the enigmatic J. Gatsby, this story is one that is placed solidly in the time period in which it is set, and yet still feels relatable and compelling to modern readers as it has for decades. It looks at gender, class, and the American dream in ways that still has us asking questions all these years later.
I'm certainly glad to see you again.
I'm certainly glad to see you as well.
Number 10. 1984, George Orwell. Set in a totalitarian society with constant government surveillance, the novel that coined the term Big Brother remains the ultimate dystopia. 1984 twists with spies, fear, and mass manipulation, while protagonist Winston desperately tries to find a way to remain an individual without being caught by the thought police.
Forged documents and gained entry to the Ministry of Truth.
Thought crime is death. Thought crime does not entail death. Thought crime is death. I have committed, even before setting pen to paper, the essential crime that contains all others in itself.
In a world where even your thoughts are monitored and where you are obliged to love Big Brother and to believe that 2 + 2 = 5, individuality is rare and precious. But is it worth the risk? The novel is particularly relevant today, where there are cameras everywhere. It's a book that will mess with your mind in the best possible way and make you question everything you know.
Does Big Brother exist?
Of course.
In the same way as me.
You do not exist.
Number 9. The Picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde is a well-known and respected historical figure, but you may not realize that he only ever penned one novel, this one, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Originally published as a magazine story, this tale has been mired with controversy from the very start, with critics calling it, quote, indecent. Much of this criticism came due to the homoeroticism present in the story, which of course would not be considered scandalous to modern readers.
Speak up, or it'll hurt his feelings.
Is that really how I look? It's just so lifelike.
Better than life. He'll always look like that.
The plot is about a man who essentially sells his soul to never age or have consequences for his sins, and tackles themes of mortality and the idea of eternal youth.
They say I'm charming.
They say that you devote your whole life to pleasure. Well, it's clearly to be recommended. I look as good as you in 25 years. I should be thoroughly happy.
I can assure you pleasure is very different from happiness.
Number 8. In Search of Lost Time, Marcel Proust.
What?
Marcel Proust wrote a 7-volume classic, Remembrance of Things Past. He took a bite of a Madeleine. It's a kind of a tea cookie he used to have when he was a child. And that one bite unleashed a tide of memories of his childhood.
Known by 3 different names, À la recherche du temps perdu, Remembrance of Things Past, or In Search of Lost Time, it's a tale told in 7 volumes, beginning with what is perhaps the best known, Swan's Way. It's an experimental novel and has come to exemplify Proust's work. Edmund White even went as far as to call it, quote, the most respected novel of the 20th century.
Oh, finished.
You're kidding. It took me forever to read that. I had to renew it 10 times.
The first sentence. I finished the first sentence.
We're not gonna lie, this massive tome is not an easy read. It's known for being one of the most challenging classics that a reader can tackle, but trust us that the journey will be worth your trouble. Number 7. The Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger. The Catcher in the Rye has achieved almost legendary status since it was first published in the mid-20th century, not least because John Lennon's murderer was carrying a copy of the novel in his pocket. It's certainly a dark book, but a dark book well worth reading, and worth rereading if you only skimmed through it in high school.
And it ain't about baseball or booze.
Then what's so good about it?
I don't know yet. No one's underlined it.
Can't be as good as Superman.
Teenage Holden Caulfield, supreme unreliable narrator and antihero, struggles with ideas of innocence and experience as he deals with adolescence, his distant parents, and the death of his brother, all told from inside a rest home. With a protagonist that's both incredibly jaded and beautifully naive in his desire to protect children from the depressing reality of the world, and from the corrupt, manipulative, quote, phony adults, the novel's impact on pop culture is undeniable.
It was once said of Catcher in the Rye, that rare miracle of fiction has again come to pass. A human being has been created out of ink, paper, and the imagination.
Number 6. Wuthering Heights, Emily Bronte. Prepare yourself for romance with a capital R, including obsession, revenge, and elements of the supernatural, through the loops of the double frame and several unreliable narrators. This non-linear story weaves its way across the stormy, treacherous moors of England. It also sees ghosts and memories of childhood trauma haunt 2 generations, while the cruel Heathcliff seeks revenge on everyone who wronged him and separated him from his soulmate, Cathy.
Pack this fellow off. I'm going from here and from this cursed country both. Throw him out. But I'll be back in this house one day, Judge Lytton, and I'll pay you out. I'll bring this house down in ruins about your heads. That's my curse on you.
Cathy is dead by the time the story begins, but her spirit still wanders the moors, tapping at windows and asking to come inside. This brilliant novel rests somewhere between doomed love story and psychological horror, complete with an incredibly vivid atmosphere and the ultimate Byronic hero.
I could no more forget you with myself. When you're at peace.
Number 5. The Count of Monte Cristo, Alexandre Dumas.
Here now is your final lesson. Do not commit do not commit the crime for which you now serve the sentence. God said, vengeance is mine.
I don't believe in God.
It doesn't matter. He believes in you.
If you can't handle stories about long prison terms after wrongful accusations, it might be better to skip this one. Alexandre Dumas' much-loved adventure novel was originally published in French, and tells the story of Edmond Dantes, who is imprisoned and ultimately seeks revenge on those who wronged him.
Death is too good for them. They must suffer as I suffered. They must see their world, all they hold dear, ripped from them as it was ripped from me.
According to literary critic Lucy Sant, quote, "The Count of Monte Cristo has become a fixture of Western civilization's literature, as inescapable and immediately identifiable as Mickey Mouse, Noah's Flood, and the story of Little Red Riding Hood." And you know what? We can't argue with that.
Monsieur, I shall never forget you. Please, madame. It was nothing. I am sure that within a month, you will not even remember my name.
Number 4, Moby-Dick or The Whale, Herman Melville.
Call me Ishmael.
One of the most important books of the 19th century, Moby-Dick tells the adventures of wandering sailor Ishmael and his voyage on the whaling ship commanded by Captain Ahab. Ahab is on an insane quest for revenge against a whale, of all creatures.
The white whale tasks me. He heaps me. Yet he is but a mask. 'Tis the thing behind the mask I chiefly hate. The malignant thing that has plagued and frightened man since time began.
In his poetic, almost biblical tale of madness and vengeance, Melville tackles the relationship between humans and the natural world, delving deep into human nature itself along the way. The line, quote, "Call me Ishmael," is one of the most famous openings ever written, and the rest of the book deserves just as much attention.
I'll follow him around the Horn, and around the Norway maelstrom, and around perdition's flames before I give him up.
Number 3, Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen. The story of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy is a classic for a reason. Pride and Prejudice isn't just a brilliant romance. It's also equal parts comedy and scathing social satire.
I can admire you much better from here.
Shocking. How shall we punish him for such a speech?
You could always laugh at him.
Oh, no. Mr. Darcy is not to be teased.
You're too proud, Mr. Darcy. And would you consider pride a fault or a virtue?
Everyone has heard of Mr. Darcy, perhaps the most famous romantic hero of all time. But the other characters are just as compelling. From strong-willed Lizzie and her 4 sisters to the grotesque Lady Catherine and the arrogant Mr. Collins. As the title suggests, the book is a complex exploration of different kinds of pride and prejudice, such as the ways in which they are imbued in Western culture, and the ways in which they can be overcome.
You have bewitched me, body and soul, and I love you. I never wish to be parted from you from this day on.
Number 2, War and Peace, Leo Tolstoy.
Don't you ever intend to fall in love?
Oh, 10 or 11 times, but only for recreation. And I'll keep changing partners like a dance. When I finally say I love you to any man and really mean it, it'll be like a defeated general who's lost all his troops, surrendering and handing his sword to his enemy.
You'll change.
While many may consider Anna Karenina to be Leo Tolstoy's most notable work, we're going with his other novel, War and Peace. Like Anna Karenina, this novel looks at the Russian aristocracy, and its story is somewhat hard to essentialize.
What a horrible mistake. I shouldn't have come. Nothing is going to happen. The night is going to be one horrible, black, degrading zero.
Even the author himself said, quote, "War and Peace was not a novel, even less is it a poem, and still less a historical chronicle. It breaks the typical form of narrative fiction on several occasions, switching to become more of a philosophical text. Like some of the other books on our list, this is by no means an easy read, but it's definitely a rewarding one."
I thought you were asleep.
No, I was lying here watching you, enjoying you, being thankful for you.
Sleep, my dearest.
No, not yet. I want to keep my eyes open. I want to look at you. You know, you're not the girl I saw dancing all night. The girl who whispered on the balcony to the moon. You're something much better. How serene you are. How valuable. I love you so much.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee.
But to remember, it was a sin to kill a mockingbird.
Why?
Well, I reckon because mockingbirds don't do anything but make music for us to enjoy.
Set in the southern United States, the Pulitzer Prize-winning To Kill a Mockingbird is narrated by a character named Scout. As she tries to navigate childhood, she watches her father, a lawyer, defending a black man, trying desperately to use his own power as a white man to bring change to their racist town.
In our courts, all men are created equal. I'm no idealist. To believe firmly in the integrity of our courts and of our jury system. That's no ideal to me. That is a living, working reality.
This book sheds devastating light on a white male power structure that still rules in many, if not all, parts of the world. Its persistent social relevance, complex characters, and excellent prose are just a few of the reasons you should definitely give it a read.
You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view.
Sir?
Till you climb inside of his skin, walk around in it.
Is there a book you think is absolutely essential reading? Be sure to let us know down in the comments.